Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Homage to our most venerable teacher Bhante, our Kalyana Mitta Gurudevottama Pinnath Loku Swamin Wahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable Bhantes in the monastery and everybody. So glad that we have here today to talk about the beautiful book written by our teacher Bhante, our Pinnath Loku Swamin Wahanse, on the great enlightened being, the Supreme Buddha, named Acharya Manusso. In English, you have that book, The Marvelous Sage, the Supreme Buddha. As I mentioned that last week actually, that I have plans to talk about the Buddha's visit to Kapilavatthu. Kapilavatthu is the birthplace of the Prince Siddhartha. If you remember, the Prince Siddhartha was born in the park named, Kevin?
Lumbini Sal Park.
Great. Lumbini Park, the national park. So now the Buddha spent 7 years after leaving his family, after leaving his palace, the family, kingdom, and everybody, after his great renunciation. 7 years passed, but Buddha did not visit again to see his father, his mother-in-law, not mother-in-law, the stepmother, and the brothers and sisters and family, nobody. Now they are waiting, they are waiting. They are waiting with tears, waiting to see the Supreme Buddha. He left the family, he left the kingdom for a great idea to become the Supreme Buddha. Now, the King Suddhodana was so excited, so worried about his son, Prince Siddhartha. He sent so many people to invite the Buddha to come to Kapilavatthu, his birthplace. Once he sent a group of people with a minister with 1,000 people to invite the Supreme Buddha to come back to the kingdom. But what happened? They listened to the Dharma from the Supreme Buddha and they became monks. They became arahants. And then as arahants, they did not talk about the invitation from his father, King Suddhodana. They did not mention about the invitation because they were arahants. And for the second time, King Suddhodana sent another group of people with a minister, 1,000 people. They did the same thing. Likewise, the king happened to send 9 times, 9,000 people. 9,000 people he sent to bring the Supreme Buddha to his kingdom. But all the people listened to the Dhamma. All the people became Bhantes, monks. All the people became arahants. They did not come back. They did not convey the message to the Supreme Buddha. And then the Buddha was disappointed. Now we see how he invited the Supreme Buddha, how the Buddha comes to visit his kingdom, his family, his father, his son. Supreme Buddha's visit to Kapilavatthu. This is a map of India, and you see the country Nepal, it's a different country today. But in the time of the Supreme Buddha, these were one country called Jambudipa. Now it is a separate country. In Nepal, Lumbini Park and Kapilavatthu, his birthplace, is situated. You understand? This is a map. And this is Nepal, USA. And then Bodh Gaya. What is Bodh Gaya, Subodh?
And Bodh Gaya is where the Supreme Buddha attained enlightenment.
Very good. And Lumbini, Kevin, Lumbini is the park the Prince Siddhartha was born. Now, from Rajgir or Rajagaha, right? The Buddha was living now in Rajagaha, and now he is planning to go to Kapilavatthu. This is a map, okay? To get a small idea, I shared this. Dino, your chance first.
My sons.
Today, my
During
letters
a
are
period of
still-
7 years after the renunciation of the Prince Siddhartha, King Suddhodana, the father of the prince, repeatedly received heart-touching news about him. During this period of 7 long years, the king heard nothing happy about his son. Whatever news that came to him was sad and unhappy.
He was sad and unhappy about his son, about the Supreme Buddha. Sandesh.
At last, after 7 long years, the king came to know that his son had attained Buddhahood and was staying at Velavana Monastery, the bamboo grove in Rajagaha, the first monastery built for the Blessed One by King Bimbisara.
Bamboo grove, it's Pali, it's English word. Bamboo is the trees, so the bushes. In Pali, we say Veluvana Monastery. It's a beautiful monastery. You remember that Veluvana Monastery was offered by King Bimbisara. King Suddhodana is concerned to see his son.
The king, who was excited to see his younger son, 9 times he sent 9 groups of people to the Enlightened One to visit Kapilavatthu. However, disappointing the king, all of them joined and attained arhatship. They did not convey the message of the king to the Supreme Buddha as arhats.
Sadhu. Did they forget to invite? Or what? Hero?
They didn't want to.
They didn't want to. Why?
Because they became arhats and
They became arahants. They did not want to do such a thing anyways. Manut and Kumit.
At last, the king sent his minister Kaludai, who was Prince Siddhartha's playmate. He was born on the same day when Prince Siddhartha was born. Minister Kaludai undertook to make the invitation on condition that he would be allowed to enter the order.
Sadhu. Who remembers about Kaludai, the minister Kaludai?
he was born at the same time when the Buddha was born.
Yeah, that was a huge news actually. He was born on the same day as Prince Yashodhara, the Bodhi tree, Kantaka, Kaludai, Anandavana Bhavante, Prince Siddhartha, and many things, okay? He was born on the same day. He was a special person. Now, he is a minister in the kingdom, under the kingdom of Suddhodana. Now, the king Suddhodana is ready to send this minister with 1,000 people to invite the Supreme Buddha. Then Kaludai had a condition. He said, if you give me the chance to get my ordination under the Supreme Buddha, I will go and invite. So that was the promise. The king said, yes, minister, you can go and you can listen to the Dhamma. You can be among with your group of people, but you should let him know about my invitation. That was the promise. So he said yes. Now he is going. Dehan, your chance to read.
After listening to the Dhamma from the Blessed One, he too attained arahantship and entered the order. But unlike the others, he conveyed the message to the Buddha and persuaded him to visit his father, who was old and excited to see him after those long 7 years.
Who knows about this? Those long 7 years. Minupa. Long 7 years. How do you explain it?
No, but that's not answer. So after the Buddha left the palace, or I guess Prince Siddhartha left the palace, and even after became the Buddha never went back to the kingdom. Instead, the Buddha was teaching the Dhamma to the people. So at this time, when his father, King Suddhodana, heard about the Buddha, he was very curious and wanted to meet him. But it's been such a long time.
So he stayed in the forest striving for 6 years. Now he's as a Buddha, he is living 1 year, altogether 7 years. Then how old is Prince Rahula?
7.
7 years. That's great. Good people. Kevin. Okay, let me take a second to explain this. So everybody, this is the invitation of the Kaludai, the minister Kaludai. Minister Kaludai, I said that he became a monk and he became Arahant. Now, this is actually his Theragatha. After becoming enlightened, they have kind of a inspired utterances about their enlightenment, about their happy feelings. And as his Theragatha, this was said by him. And this especially is the invitation he made to the Supreme Buddha to visit Kapilavattha. Yes, go ahead.
The Supreme Buddha accepts the invitation. The Venerable Kaludai Arahant Bhante's Theragatha. Great sage, the trees have dropped their leaves, and time has come for fruit to grow. The blossoming flowers glow like burning coal. These trees shine like flames. Great hero, time has come to help your relatives, the Sakyans.
Sadhu, sadhu. It's such a beautiful Theragatha. It's very nice. So he explains the nature. He talks about the beauty of the nature, and he to invite the Supreme Buddha. This is the time, great sage, to help your relatives, the Sakyans. Linda.
Yes, Bante. Those delightful trees in bloom spread their sweet scent all around. Now those trees drop their leaves and are hoping to bear fruit. Great hero, time has come for us to leave from here. Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So that's how he explains that. Okay. Ginalin Din. G, your chance to read actually.
Yes, Bante. Great sage, it is not too cold or too hot. The season is pleasant for a long journey. When the Blessed One walks, crossing the Rohini River, may the Sakyans and Kalyans from the west have a chance to see you, the Blessed One.
Sadhu, sadhu. So see, he says that when the Buddha crosses the Rohini River, Sakyan people and Kolyan people, these are two clans actually. Two people on both sides of the Rohini River. So to represent those two people, Sakyans and Kolyans, I gave this picture. This is a statue actually available in our monastery in Malabe in Colombo, in Sri Lanka. So it is not actually representing Sakyans and Kolyans. Anyways, the picture is beautiful. That's how he explains, okay? Aga, he still explains about things to invite the Buddha.
If a great hero of great wisdom is born into a certain family, indeed that person's birth is for the well-being of 7 generations. I think that, like the greatest God among gods, the Blessed One can give far more relief to the world. You, the Blessed One, are the only one who can be called the truth.
Understand. Minister Kaludai, now Kaludai Arahan Bante. He talks about this. Dinara.
The father of the great seer is King Suddhodana. The queen bearing the Bodhisattva baby in her womb took care of the baby. After that, she was reborn in Tusita heaven and delighted there. The mother of the Buddha is Maya.
Understand. What is this actually? Still he is talking about the Supreme Buddha, Kaludai. Please remember this name. It's a beautiful name, Kaludai. Udai. And apparently he was a little bit dark, and then he was called Kaludai. Kala is dark. Queen Maya gave birth to Prince Siddhartha, and after 7 days, she passed away into Tusita heaven and was born into Tusita heaven. Remember? Kumit.
The Buddha's mother, having passed away from this world, met with divine pleasures, surrounded by many goddesses, and she enjoys divine sensual pleasures there.
Sadhu, sadhu. He says, Kaludai says, he enjoys divine pleasure, divine sensual pleasures there in the Tusita heaven. But now she is a male deity, male deva. She became a male deva. Remember? Huh? But you can say she because she gave birth to Prince Siddhartha. Senila. Let me explain a little bit about the picture. If you have visited Polgahavela in Sri Lanka, the monastery, you can see these 2 beautiful statues. One, this Bante, is Venerable Mahinda Arahan Bante. And someone who is worshipping him is Devanam Piyatissa king. So king received Buddhism from India at Mihintale in Sri Lanka by Venerable Arahant Mahinda Thero. So that was something significant in Polgahavela Monastery, you see. But to get an idea about that, King Suddhodana is waiting for the Supreme Buddha invitation made by the Kaludai. Now, Kaludai, Venerable Arahant Bhante, is coming to the king, Suddhodana, and giving him the information. Senila.
My Bhante, the Buddha is unique and unconquered. The Buddha has an unshaken mind. I am a son of the Buddha, O Sakya King, Suddhodana. Therefore, you are my father's father, O King from Gautama clan. By the Dhamma, you are my grandfather.
This was said by Arahant Kaludai. Okay, Linda, how do you explain that actually? So he says, Kaludai Venerable Bhante says, O king from the Gautama clan. He addresses the king. By the Dhamma, you are my grandfather. It's such a beautiful expression. Eh?
It is very beautiful, Bhante. I think that Minister Kaludai, he has been ordained as a monk by the Supreme Buddha. And now, because now he is the son of the Supreme Buddha, and King Suddhodana is actually the father, the biological father of the Supreme Buddha. Kaludai minister meant to say that now technically you are my grandfather, because Supreme Buddha now is his father by Dhamma, because he was ordained, yes.
That's excellent. That's excellent, right? So as Arahant Bhante, he says that you're my grandfather. That's how he expresses his happiness, a happy feeling to the king. to the journey from Veluvana monastery to Kapilavatthu, the Buddha took 60 days, 60 yojanas, which means 600, about 600 kilometers. 60 days he took. So in this, during this period, Kaludaya Venerable Bhante, every day, he, with his psychic potencies, he visits the palace of the King Suddhodana and brings alms food to 20,000 Arahant Bhantes. That's a psychic potency. Okay, every day he visits the palace and brings alms food to the Supreme Buddha and Venerable Bhantes. Every day, 60 days. Every day he visits. Every day he goes to the palace, and every day he comes back to treat the Supreme Buddha, the Venerable Bhantes. Okay, 60 days, 60 yojanas, which means, you know, yojana is about 10 kilometers. Hiro?
Not an answer.
I gave you a Google map. We didn't have Google Maps in the time of the Supreme Buddha. You see, okay, read it first, Buddha.
Accepting the invitation of the King Suddhodana, the great teacher, the enlightened one, journeyed over 60 yojanas all the way from Rajagaha to Kapilavatthu. The Supreme Buddha took 2 months to reach the destination.
Which means 1 yojana for a day. This is 10 kilometers a day he walked. So yojana is about 10 kilometers. So when you see this map, you see about 589 kilometers one way and 485. We don't know about the path that available in the time of the Supreme Buddha. It's like, anyways, about 600, approximately 600 kilometers from Kapilavatthu to Nepal. Excuse me, from Veluvana Monastery to Nepal, Kapilavatthu. Such beautiful information. Minupa. Yamaka Mahapratihare or Yama Mahapelahara, the twin miracles.
The Sakyans were proud and conceited to worship the Supreme Buddha. They made only the young ones to pay homage. When the Enlightened One noticed the situation, he sprang up to the sky and performed Yamaka Mahapratihara, the twin miracle. It is a unique miracle performed only by the Supreme Buddhas. Being in the sky, the Blessed One spread water and fire at the same time from the noble body of the Buddha. Witnessing this miracle, King Suddhodana worshipped his son, the Buddha. All the other ministers and Sakyans followed the king to pay respect to the Buddha.
So it's a new term you learned today. Yamaka Mahapratihari or Yama Mahapelahari in Sinhala. Twin miracles. It's only done by the Supreme Buddha. You understand that, Nelly, did you understand that? So sometimes, at one time, Buddha spreads water from his upper part of his body and fire from the lower part of the body. And on the other time, fire from the upper part and water from the lower part. And sometimes, the other times, he spreads water and fire together from his whole body. It's a miracle. It's absolutely good miracle. He did this in Sri Lanka too, to flee away yakas, the demons from the land too, when he visits Sri Lanka. This was done by the Supreme Buddha, the twin miracle, in Kapilavatthu, because the Sakyans were proud and arrogant, and they had a very powerful conceit about their clan, about the people, because the Buddha was young, and the Shastriya people or the king's people, they are very proud and they do not want to pay respect to the Supreme Buddha. But the Buddha is enlightened now. It was different, totally different. Now they should. Nelly, divine rain.
There was heavy rain, but only those who wished got wet and others were not wetted. It was an extraordinary rain shower caused by Sakka, king of Devas. The Blessed One preached Vesantara Jataka story in order to show similar incidents had taken place in previous births.
Sadhu, sadhu. So divine rain, or in Sinhala you say Pokuru Vasa. Okay? And this is a special rain, divine rain, happened at the time when he paid this twin miracle. So if someone likes to get wet in the rain, they can. If someone doesn't like to get wet, they do not get that. They do not get even one drop from the rain on the body. So this is a special thing. It was a beautiful, very smooth, very fine, comfortable rain. No one hurts that at the moment. And that was a rain happened during the time when the Buddha was doing this twin miracle. And then Buddha said that happened actually when the Vesantara Jataka happened in the past, a long ago. So the Buddha preached actually the Vesantara beautiful Jataka story to people, Sakin people, Imasha and Sevan. Again, Pite. So this is a picture. This is a picture about the Vesantara. The king Vesantara donates his royal elephant to the other people. He donates. He gives as a Vesantara. So King Vesantara is the Bodhisattva, Maha Bodhisattva, as the Buddha was coming on the journey to become fulfilling the perfections. He gave his royal elephant. And this is also Vesantara Jataka. These two pictures, there's incidents available in Polgahavila Monastery in Sri Lanka. The statues. This is, how can I explain this? Jujaka, Brahmin, and these two kids.
Vesantara king donates his son and daughter.
You know the names of these son and daughter?
The son was actually born as Rahula.
Yeah, Rahula was born in this.
And the daughter was born as
Uppalavanna. That's correct. That's correct information. The present life, they became Rahula and Uppalavanna Rahat Bhikkhuni. Chamudi, you're reading.
Nigodharama Monastery. The Sakyans were so overjoyed by the marvels that they had just witnessed that it did not occur to the Sakyan leader to invite the Buddha for the next day's meal. The assembly of the Buddha's Sakyan relatives took place on the full moon day of the month of Vesak, May. That day the Buddha stayed the night in the Sakyan Nirodha's park.
Nirodha's park. This is the picture actually today. It's like remains, you see. The Nigrodha Rama, Nigrodha Monastery. Nigrodha is actually the tree banyan, but Nigrodha is also a person there. Dinara.
The Buddha goes on his alms round in the kingdom of his father. On the following day, as no one had invited for the noonday meal, the Buddha went from house to house in the streets of Kapilavatthu. His disciples followed him with bowls in their hands. The king was informed that his own son was begging alms in the streets.
So king forgot to invite the Supreme Buddha for the alms food in the palace, but alms food was prepared, ready. But because he was not invited, Buddha went on alms round on the streets. And then the king was so worried about this. Why? It's not good for the king. He is the king, rich. And so the Sakyans were so proud actually. Now the prince and then the Buddha, they were going on the rounds asking food from the people. It's not good. It's not a good idea for the people. So they were sad. See that that picture? It's a beautiful picture. King Suddhodana is holding the hand of the Supreme Buddha. Please, the Buddha, do not do this. It's not good, he says. Then what did the Buddha say? Answer that.
He never expected such an incident to take place and rushed to the palace himself and inquired most humbly as to why the Blessed One was shaming him and his lineage. Sakyans have never gone from house to house seeking alms, the king said.
So Sakyans had never gone from house to house seeking alms. That was his concern. Okay, Ginalin. Okay,
The Blessed One said, "The royal lineage is yours, O king. Mine is the Buddha's lineage," and added that it is proper for members of his lineage to seek alms from houses. Buddha advised the king to be alert and heedful and to live a righteous life. The righteous live happily in this life and in the next.
Sadhu. Now Buddha is not from the king's family. His kingdom is the Buddha's dispensation. It's the ritual, and that's the thing that the Buddhas do. Buddha is completely freed from defilements, conceit, and the arrogance and everything. Now he's going on his arms round. But he gave his beautiful Dhamma to the king. And then listening to this beautiful Dhamma, the king was so fortunate to understand the Dhamma. Subodha, you're reading.
King Suddhodana attained stream entry. The king was very intelligent and virtuous enough to realize the truth and attain Sotapanna, stream entry, the first stage of enlightenment.
Subodha, can you explain this picture?
I am a
Such a beautiful, it's live, right? It's a beautiful picture.
So in this picture, it's showing the, I think it's Asitata person.
Yes.
He's holding the Bodhisattva as one day after he was born.
Yes.
King Suddhodana is giving him and the Bodhisattva, Prince Siddhartha.
Good explanation. Yeah, that's correct. So anyway, this king is very, very fortunate and lucky. He became Sotapanna by listening that small piece of Dhamma. Imasha and Shivan.
Soon the king took the Buddha's bowl to his hands and conducted him and his disciples to the palace, where he served all of them with food.
Yes. So he treated the Supreme Buddha, headed Supreme Buddha with the Bhantes. Can you remember this picture before?
Yasakula Putraya.
Yasakula, and his father giving dana to the Supreme Buddha. Yasabhante is sitting nearby. It's not Suddhodana king teaching the Buddha, okay? But I gave that picture. It's beautiful. Senon.
After meals, he preached Dhamma, listening to which King Suddhodana attained Sakardagami, once returner, or the second stage of enlightenment. Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami attained Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment.
Sadhu, sadhu. Lucky people. Next day, he became Sakadagami. King became Sakadagami. And Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami attained Sotapanna too. Okay, next, Savisha.
Later, the king attained Anagami, non-returner, after listening to the Dhammapala Jataka story preached by the Blessed One. On his deathbed, the fortunate king heard Dharma from the Tathagata and attained arhatship.
Sadhu, sadhu. So the king, Suddhodana, became Arahant at the end, at the deathbed actually, at the end of his life. So this is not King Suddhodana, this is King Kosala, Pasenadi of Kosala, worshipping the Supreme Buddha. But it's a beautiful picture. At the end of his life, the King Suddhodana was very, very fortunate to understand the Dhamma by the Supreme Buddha, and he became Arahant. On the same day, he passed away into final Nibbana. He's not supposed to be born again. So, such very fortunate people.
Prince Yashodhara. When all but Princess Yashodhara went to pay reverence to the Buddha, when he visited the royal palace, inquiries were made from her as to why she did not pay reverence to the Blessed One.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu. Prince Yasodhara. Now, Prince Yasodhara, who is Prince Yasodhara? The wife, prince wife of Siddhartha, as in the lay life. This is their wedding actually. This is such a beautiful picture. And now Prince Yasodhara is waiting the Buddha. Okay? Dinudaham again. And I want you to explain the picture too.
The prince said that the enlightened one would himself come to her if there was any virtue in her, and that she would pay reverence when he came to her presence.
What was the picture?
The picture is when this Prince Siddhartha wanted to become a monk and find the true happiness. And when he was leaving, he went to go check on Prince Rahula and Queen Yashodhara.
At the moment he is leaving the palace, right? Yes, yes, that's a good explanation. Now Prince Yasodhara is waiting the Buddha. Hiru.
The enlightened one accompanied his two chief disciples, and the king entered Princess Yasodhara's chamber. The princess may reverence the Tathagata as she wishes. The Buddha said immediately she held his ankles and placing her head on his feet, reverenced him, bathing his feet with tears.
With chief disciples. Who are the chief disciples? You can see on the picture. Venerable Sariputta Arahant Bhante and Moggallana Arahant Bhante. This is the king and these are the chief disciples. The Buddha is sitting and Prince Yasodhara is crying. Aga.
King Suddhodana praised his daughter-in-law for her faith she had towards the Enlightened One. She started to wear yellow robes when she heard that you were wearing yellow robes, and she resorted to 1 meal a day. She abstained from comfortable beddings. She even did not look at the messengers sent by her relatives offering her all comforts. She is so virtuous, the king said.
When she heard about the Buddha is doing such thing, she followed similar things. She stopped living in a comfortable bed as she was heard like the prince Siddhartha is not comfortable in the forest or something like that. Linda, do you remember this beautiful statue?
Yes, Bante. I think this statue is Yashodhara, Arahant Yashodhara. Buddha taught the Chanda Kinnara Jataka story to show how she had protected him in previous births. Later on, she entered the order with Queen Maha Prajapati Gotami and attained arahantship.
So she was so fortunate. She became the supporter of the Mahabodhisattva when he was coming during the sansaric journey. She was the biggest help to the Mahabodhisattva. Now, their last birth, she was fortunate to listen to the Dhamma. She became a nun and was fortunate to become Arahant. That was their final birth. So that was the beautiful statue we have in our Anagarika monastery in Sri Lanka. Now you can see Prince Yashodhara. Still Yashodhara is in the palace with the son Rahula, 7 years old, waiting to see the Supreme Buddha and showing the Supreme Buddha to Rahula Sandesh.
On the seventh day after the arrival of the Blessed One in Kapilavatthu, Princess Yasodhara pointed to the Buddha and told her son, Prince Rahula, that great ascetic of majestic appearance was his father. He requested him to go and ask for his inheritance.
Inheritance. Inheritance is the heritage or the heir, and maybe the wealth from the father. Please ask your wealth, ask your thing from your father, heritage. That was the request from Yashodhara, pointing the Supreme Buddha when he was coming on the seventh day. Manu.
The Enlightened One requested Venerable Arahant Sariputta Bhante to ordain Prince Rahula, saying that he should give Prince Rahula the eightfold noble wealth, which he received at the foot of the Bodhi tree. Prince Rahula was only 7 years of age at the time when he was admitted into the order. Young Prince Rahula ran to the Buddha and felt that even his shadow was pleasing. After the midday meal, he followed the Buddha. No one prevented him from following the Buddha. He was asking for his legacy as his mother requested him to do it.
I want you to look at this beautiful picture. Prince Rahul, 7 years old, like you, asking the heritage, the legacy. Please, Bhante, give me your legacy to me. My mother requested that to me, or something. But he is giving the legacy. What was the legacy? What was the heritage? Minumpa, what was the legacy?
No, but that's not answer. So that would be like the ordination into the Buddhist dispensation.
Yes. Eightfold Noble Path is the legacy, Dhamma. And this is Venerable Sariputta Bhante giving the ordination. See, this is not the Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbajja. Buddha is not giving Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbajja to Rahula. But all the people like Kaludai and 10,000 people, everybody got Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbajja, which is like the miracle. They become arahants. They become monks when the Buddha says that come monks. To become Ehi Bhikkhu monk, they should have some special qualities during the sansaric journey. But Buddha does not give this Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbajja to Rahula. He orders Venerable Sariputta Bhante to give him the ordination. Such a beautiful thing in the dispensation. Imasha and Shivan again.
Sakyan princes Ananda, Anuruddha, Badya, Bhagu, Kimbila, Devadatta, with their barber Upali, two went forth and entered the order. Devadatta, who was the son of King Supabutta, is famous for evil acts, although he was Prince Siddhartha's brother-in-law.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ananda, Anuruddha, Badhya, Bhagu, Kimbila, Devadatta. See the people standing with their barber Upali. Upali is not from Sakyan family. He is a servant of the Sakyans. He is the barber. So something very, very special happened there. When they went to the Supreme Buddha, they requested the Buddha, Bhante, we like to get our ordination under the Supreme Buddha. But because as Sakyans, we are very proud and arrogant. To let go of that arrogance, we want you to give the ordination first to our servant, the Baba Upali. Then we can worship him. We can pay our veneration to him, to our servant, to minimize our arrogance, our pride or something. And that was the picture of Venerable Upali, Arahant Bhante Upali. He is taking the first ordination among the group of people when they are Ananda, Anuruddha, Badya, Babu, Kimbila, Devadatta. Devadatta is also there. They are from the Sakyans families. But the servant gets the first ordination. Such a beautiful time period. Huh? And Upali becomes an excellent person, excellent Bhante in the dispensation. Nelly, your reading. Let me read the Pali word. Etadagang bhikkhave mama savakanang bhikkhunan vinayadaranang yadidak upali.
The foremost of my monk disciples who have memorized the monastic law is Upali.
The foremost monk of the dispensation among the disciplinary memories is Upali. Upali Bhante became the foremost among the disciplinary rules. And this is for everybody. Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu.